Hello again everybody and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. Today we have a 1v1 on Theta Crystals. We have again with us today C3b0 playing as Armada in red, and his opponent is Ubivator in blue starting as Cortex. Now we've seen Ubivator quite a lot on the channel and is tremendously good in 1v1s. When we look at the OS differences here in the bottom right hand corner, you can see there is a tremendous difference between the two players. So we'll see if C3 is able to get a win here. Instantly we actually see a difference in start position between the two, as Ubivator decided to spawn right here, enable him to get this metal point that wouldn't be able to be gotten by many other things, as well as this very well positioned radar. Now, this does put Ubivator behind in terms of factory. We can see his opponent over here already has his factory basically finished, and Ubivator hasn't even started his factory yet. But this map is quite a large map now, so what that means is that although his opponent, we can see his factory here, C3 is building a bunch of ticks. By the time that these ticks actually get over here, there's a high probability that Ubivator will have his factory ready, and probably even a grunt if he decides to go grunt first, which he has. Going the grunt first there purely for defensive purposes. And then he also seems to be going Resbar after to grab all of these lovely, yummy energy crystals. And there you go. See, the ticks only just arriving at the base, but already there is a grunt out here to defend. And with his commander there able to defend as well, it's going to very much limit the amount of damage that C3b0 is going to be able to do with this early tick harass. Very defensive posturing here. Now also you can see here from the choice of Ubivator's comm position, he had a pretty good placement. He did lose a single metal extractor, but that's kind of because he made a mistake of how he was moving his commander there. But with commander's build power, that only dropped that metal extractor for a matter of seconds, which definitely has not made that much of an impact. But now at 2 minutes 45, the first constructor has made its way out, whereas his opponent has two constructors and a construction turret already being built. Now C3 doesn't have any additional metal points as of right now, and this top metal point is still not been capped by C3. And you can see that the metal produced is substantially more. So the metal produced so far isn't that big of a difference. It's only 100, but you can see that number is going up and up the longer it takes for C3 to expand. Now, moving out here to look at the wider map, we have we've reviewed this map several times, but if you're new here and the first time seeing this channel, let's go over it quickly. So you've got a metal point right up here, which pretty much no one ever contests as a 3-point metal. It's one of the best metal spots on the map, and if we go here, there's a 2.4 on this ridgeline. This one is more oftenly contested. We'll see if these ticks manage to get anything. No. There's also some high value mexes along this central line here with another 2.4 and a 3. And then as we've zoomed out again quickly, all of these energy, all these crystals here rather, have a substantial amount of energy in on both sides of the map. So that's why both players have chosen to start bot here and also get the res bots out to get that energy reclaim. It means you're not having to invest as much metal into winds or solars in this early game and able to produce a lot of units. Now, C3b0 is done... was potentially able to do some damage there, but that one tick not able to really cut it. And those grunts that pawns, that are kept over there also on the radar and will get dispatched very quickly. Now this middle section here, often not very used, but with tech free, amphibious tech free, can use this water quite effectively, as there always tends to be defenses on the ridge line or on the bottom, and then along here quite often is your kind of line, and then you have your tech free, just walk right through into your opponent's base. Now when it comes to army value, it's very, very even right now, at 0% difference between the two. And pawns, although they technically do more damage, having to get close to those grunts, it's going to be difficult. If he can get them as they come over the hill, he'll be at a very, very strong position, but the likelihood of that happening is not very high at all. This construction bot able to just sneak in that metal extractor there. And we can see that the pawns there traded 3 for 1, which is not good at all. But C3 is trying to keep Ubivator on the back foot by applying pressure in multiple locations. You see another raid along the top, but having to lose the high ground is a bit of a problem. The whole point, though, the grunts win out when they're microed. If the grunts aren't microed and are just like thrown into the opponent, they will lose versus pawns. And C3 doing a very good job at self-destructing that pawn there, forcing his opponent to not be able to get any reclaim. And a Centurion here, very slow, but will deal with grunts / pawn spam quite effectively. See how quickly that took it out. The problem is you've got to have it in the position to begin with. And we can just see these single grunts managing to get into the back lines of C3, causing tremendous aggravation for him as he gets nothing there, luckily enough, but along the top, surprisingly manages to stop that attack as well. C3 not really doing the best at expanding right now. There's a triple metal point here that's still not been capped off, but is doing substantially better at this point than Ubivator. You can see Ubivator's pumping so many units out. Currently on the map, there are 40 grunts in this early stage of the map, and just completely overwhelming his opponent as this LLT attempts to go for a self-destruct here. Will not get it off in time, unfortunately, and that is going to enable these guys to get through. I did not know you could get a construction bot up that hill. Now, the thing is, Ubivator may be giving up too much metal and not really inflicting too much in the way of damage. There's a breakthrough appearing at the bottom. Now, this would have been a good time for a self-destruct. And that's a big group of grunts now, 9 along the bottom. And a lack of APM now for Ubivator. As you can see, he's just got those units stopped there. That's 3 grunts that were just killed for nothing. And already Resbot's out and about from C3 to just get all these units back as quick as possible. You can see, though, in this time that Ubivator's been microing all that, he's almost gotten all of these metal points that his opponent had, and he's already starting to spread out to the section over here on the north and down on the south, whereas C3 is in defense mode right now, desperately just trying to hold on to what he can. His commander being this far forward is going to give him a bit of a buffer at least, but it's the north side where he's having significant problems. Pawn's pushing these grunts into a corner. He does not have the numbers, though, to keep chasing that down. If we quickly select this construction turret here, you can see 250 metal there, 350 there, 100 there, 70 there, 200 there. It's a lot of metal left on the field, and when it comes to metal produced, currently C3 is in the lead. But losing pawn after pawn here to just sheer grunt spam, he really needs to come up with a new plan, as this trading is not going in his favor. And here comes a good group of grunts managing to get around the back. That's going to take out that construction vehicle and those energy converters that have only just finished building. Pawns managed to collapse on them, but the damage has already been done. And on the left here, look at the sheer volume. 21 pawns, 21 grunts, sorry, 3 pawns, and the Resbot somehow managed to evade that for now. This is a very large group, and that laser tower will die in, yep, literally seconds. Now, some good positioning here from C3. He's trapped this army off entirely. And Resbots were in a bit too early there. But rather than letting himself get trapped, Ubivator spreading out his forces, making his opponent choose, and still getting another construction vehicle from it. And also letting these guys on the south go free. But still, a lot of resurrectable stuff right there ready for C3. The question is he going to be able to res it quick enough to make an impact? And another LLT goes down. Economy-wise, Ubivator in a very, very strong position right now. C3 has been playing defense for such a long time, and he only has 4 resbots. He's only going to res so much at a time, and it looks like he's actually focusing right now on getting the metal points back. I mean, it's a kind of a good play, but at the same time, he really needs more of an army to actually be able to defend this. And right now, he does not have that. Resurrecting all of this stuff over here would give him a significant unit. Well, not advantage because he's still behind, but at least a countering. And also not making use here of the Centurions effectively. Going in time and time again into grunts is not doing him a favor whatsoever. With pawns, you do have to have a unit advantage. We can see this grunt here has just walked backwards and managed to take out 2 pawns on its own. Here comes some bombers. 6 bombers. But they've been hesitant a bit, and the bombers have flown back. And we can see instantly getting AA up as quick as possible now. Bomb and run has kind of been a bit wasted by how long it took to arrive. And good call here getting some AA into the lineup here, as with Ubivator being Cortex, Shurikens rather, are a pretty much foregone conclusion that they will show up at some point. And the bombers not even able to drop a single bomb before they're all taken out. Oh, there we go. A single bomb. That's all that was dropped. It's a shame he's not using these Centurions more. Centurions would be very effective for defending a position. And he's not really making the most of them. They do have problems, obviously, with their movement speed. See, not enough LLTs on the bottom here, but the commander is there nearby that could just rebuild more if needed. These units aren't really even being microed. And they will actually manage to find a hole past the commander and will get round to do even more damage. The shurikens were made there, not really able to accomplish much. And C3 needs to not chase with his commander here, rebuild those defenses because more units are going to end up coming through. A very ballsy transition here, though. C3 behind and knows it. He desperately needs to get going. But it seems he started the build of a Tech 2 factory and then moved the engineer off and is just building it basically with construction turrets. He's absorbed both factories, which now means he has to not lose the resbots he's got, because they are going to be invaluable with almost 1,000 metal of units there, 680 there. It's a lot. Mine layer out as well, which was the only other vehicle built from the vehicle factory. Quick look over in Ubivator's base here. Ubivator already with Tech 2 himself, so they both transitioned at the right time. Although C3 had a very strong kind of early harass, that went very quickly as soon as Ubivator was able to make the most of his early positioning. It seems both players kind of taking a second to weigh up their choices. Also, don't think I've ever seen this built. Building a Tech 1 plasma like artillery up on that high ground, that is going to be extremely difficult for C3 to take out. And look at the targeting range that gives him. That's going to make it almost impossible for C3 to get up this hill safely. And with the new targeting changes that these units have, where they now no longer have a high ground or low ground switch, they just do it automatically. Having to not micro this is going to make a big difference to this north section. And now Ubivator even able to get the metal point over here with this air constructor. That is not a good look for C3b0, as he can even see that construction aircraft there and has nothing he can do with it. And as we just fast forward a little bit here, as both players basically just sit and eco up for a bit. When it comes to army value, technically C3 is in the lead here, purely due to the sheer quantity of units that have been resurrected. But realistically, Ubivator is in a very strong position economy-wise. When you look at every single other number is in Ubivator's favor. Metal and energy income is significantly more. Build power is, you know, only matters if you've got the economy for it. Energy produced and metal produced is substantially favor Ubivator. And as the units go over the hill, oh, will they get it before the artillery gets built? It does. That's a lot of wasted metal sat in that now. And the mines stopping his opponent in his tracks. And the Tech 2 that C3 has will not be able to make an impact as mines being built and pop-up defenses. What is C3's plan now? Drastically trying to get a Juno built, building economy, but look at his energy problems here. He's not even got enough energy here to keep the cloak on the EMP mexes. And this is the problem. He's not had any chance here at all to basically get any wind production up, and has just not managed to scale it at all. And it seems like he's realized that and cancelled the plan to build the Juno, because he just does not have the energy required to get that built. And when we look at it here, 17,000 energy to build a Juno. That's a lot. And he needs to get not the decoy fusion, normal fusion, which is still a lot of energy, but he needs that, and that's going to help him a lot more. I'm surprised he doesn't split off one of these guys to just start building winds, because he's got a bunch of metal right now, but he's not able to use it because he just doesn't have the energy. Could also use this guy here to reclaim some energy. There's 3,400 there, and choosing not to do that. He's also got another 3,800 in crystals there. Just a lot that he's missing. The resbots are starting to get to it down here at least, which is feeding him a bit, but going for another artillery position on the south. Ubivator really wants to try these artillery positions for a change. And this thing here slowly feeding its economy back into... oh, is it going to be able to reach? No. And that's going to be a bit of an annoyance there for C3, as he's forced back even further. But as you can see here, these metal points still not capped off. As we select C3's economy, now he's finally got energy up that he's able to start building some more. But he desperately needs more units. And we just briefly missed that there, but as they came over the hill, caught the EMP guys, managed to catch the whole entire army of C3. And that is a lot of EMP to be done. See, most of the army there of C3 gets EMP'd, although it does now come back online. It's not gonna be enough, and that is a huge loss. 3k metal just sat there now, and the problem of not having any units being built for such a long time now, that all he had was Tech 1 and a very small amount of Jaguars. And there are a few mines which are delaying Ubivator, but you can see him up here now with this Twitcher just absorbing everything. Meanwhile, he's planning his attack down the bottom here with these Sheldons. And unfortunately for C3, this does seem like this might just be an exercise in futility, as there is no way at this point I can see him coming back from this. Ubivator has an army advantage of 255, 270k, and with all of the numbers in the blue, there is pretty much the end for C3. So you'll be asking why? Why did this happen? C3 kept going pawns into grunts, which, although they are the same counterpart, they don't go very well. If he was planning on being defensive, the Centurions could have blocked these paths off quite well, but he didn't choose to do that. Instead, he kept choosing to build pawns, which just didn't trade very favorably whatsoever. And then, because he was so busy microing, he never expanded his own economy. Like, he's still only got very few amount of windmills. And when you look on the mini-map towards his opponent, look how much area there is covered in windmills. Now, Pulsars will be able to outrange the Sheldons. But when all he has is these units, and Ubivator has already got a Mammoth as well as a bunch of Sheldons ready in the south, realistically, there's not much way that he's going to be able to defend both sides against that. And now a desperate push to attempt to get Tech 3 built here in order to try and save his life. I don't think that will end up coming to fruition at all, because he does not have the build power to get this out quick enough. He has no energy. His Starlights are now not really able to fire. And there's just too much on its way in from multiple directions that C3 can cope with it. And C3 realizes that and calls the GG. So yeah, some poor unit choices there from C3 and unable to scale up his economy. His very early game and the early harass was good, But Ubivator already planned that on happening, as you could see from his choice and his build early on that he knew he was going to be behind and just wanted to play defensive in the early game. And that's just what happened. Pretty much the entire game went as Ubivator predicted. So what would you have done different? How would you have defeated Ubivator? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.